Hi everybody, I'm Theonie Roussianos and this here is the amazing Annie D. Thanks for joining me, Annie.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
I'm excited to be speaking with you. Now, I don't want to miss anything here, so I do need to read a little snippet of your bio. Now, Annie is a soul consultant and I don't need to read this part to say that she does have the most gorgeous soul of anybody I've ever met in my life. Oh, don't cry. Well, you can cry. You can cry.
That's not something unusual for me.
No. So Annie has a gift in helping our soul find its voice and to create awareness and confirmation that we're on the right path. And now, so you're a qualified counsellor with 12 years experience. I've got that right. Yeah, I did my homework. And so you found your purpose through your own addiction and moving forward with, life's journey and whatever moving forward there. So how did you, so with your counselling service, you mainly help people who are battling through addiction or?
So the way it started, I had my own addiction and I went through rehab and I did my own program. And what happened, I got so much from it, and then I just always had this calling to want to help people. So I went back to school, I studied, and I became a counsellor. And I wanted to work in the field of addiction because obviously that's what touched my life. And that's what I did. And I worked, I specialised in addictions, and I worked in a rehab centre and also had my own private practice. And what I found was working with addicts, I found that there's two sides to us. There's the human side, which is the socialised self, which I call the ego.
Yeah.
And then there's the other side, which is basically your essential self. And that's what I call the soul, because I love the word soul. And you could, a lot of people call it many different names, whether it's higher self, true self, authentic self. Like there's so many words these days that, describe that part.
Yeah.
And it's not important, what it's called. It's more important that we know that that part exists.
Yeah, and use whichever word resonates with you, right?
Exactly. And so what I found was working with addicts, I really got to see those two different parts. And I found that the part that I call soul it's a really wise and compassionate and understanding part of us. And it's really distinctly different to the human part of us.
Yeah.
And working with them, I really got to see how those two parts either work together or they sabotaged each other.
Yeah.
And what I found was the more trauma, and usually addicts become addicts because there's a lot of childhood trauma. And so the more trauma somebody has as a child, the more there's that disconnection between those two parts. And I also found as we worked together and we started to heal that trauma, those two parts started to integrate and you became whole. And I just became fascinated by it. And the more I worked with people, I could really see how that really, how that work played out in people's lives. And as time went by, and because I was going through my own journey, learning this stuff as well, I really loved it. And as time went by, I could really connect to people's souls and see what was actually stopping them and helping them to work through the trauma, the blocks, the beliefs, everything that actually keeps us stuck. And I just love it.
Yeah. So it's obvious you've got a passion to help people get through so what made you make the transition from counselling to
that's
where you are
now? Yeah. Well, as you can imagine, working with addicts, it can be hard work. And I loved it, but I got to a point where I felt burnt out. And 3 years ago, I hit a real low point where, in my own personal life, and I lost my father got very sick. I lost my job in the rehab centre because I was just burning out, and I lost my partner, and so which meant I also lost my home. So all at once, all this stuff happened, and I just found myself sitting on the beach one day and going, "What is going on? What do I have to do?" And so what happened was I got this message, and what had happened was, like, from a young child, I've always had that psychic ability. But I never shared it with anybody because I had this fear, because I grew up in a very religious family. My mother was very religious. And I grew up with the belief that that was the devil's work. And I felt really torn because I loved anything to do with psychic phenomenon, the afterlife, metaphysics, but I couldn't talk about it because of, the beliefs I grew up with. So as a child, I felt very torn and very confused, and I just shut it down. But then, like I said, 3 years ago, my father passed away, and I had all these experiences with my dad coming back to me from the afterlife. And he basically said to me, don't worry about what your mother thinks and believes. You're on the right track. Keep doing what you're doing. You're going to help a lot of people. And that just freed me up. And I went, because I was so ready to change, but I was still holding back because that fear of, oh my God, what are people going to say? That's a very ethnic.
I was about to say, that's the Greek mother in you. Yeah. What's everyone else going to think?
And that's what I grew up with. You can't talk about that because what are people going to think? And I just, and I think what I love about, when you get into your 50s, it's like you're over caring what people think. Like your 20s and 30s are really like, what will people think? But by the time you get to our age, I'm a lot older than you, but by the time you get to this age, it's like, you just know you've got to follow what your heart wants you to do. Otherwise, you're just living for others. And that's a really empty, meaningless life.
Yeah, it
Whereas when you do what you love and you're passionate about, people can feel it and they get drawn to you.
And you can help more people when you're loving what you do.
Absolutely.
People sense that.
Absolutely. So, so that's my story.
That's your story. Now, you've had, your workshop's called Soul Speaks.
I've got a couple. Yeah, I've got like an event which is Soul Speaks. That goes for an hour and a half to 2 hours. And it's basically people come along, they bring their questions, and I connect to their soul, which is their Akashic records, and they ask the question and I just channel, because the intuitive channeling side comes through. And then I have another one which is called the Soul Connection. And we take it a bit deeper because, it's wonderful to have someone give you the question, like give you the answers. But it's like, that saying of, give a man a fish, he feeds himself for a day. Teach a man how to fish, he'll feed himself for life. And so I really want to teach people how to connect to their own soul, because really all the answers are within us. However, we don't know how to connect to that and find out how to get those answers. And that's what I really love, is teaching other people to do it. Because at the end of the day, when we look outside ourselves to get the answers, we're giving our power away. Yeah. And I'm all about, let's empower ourselves to take our,
And with that, quite often we feel stuff and we don't know what's going on. You've just got this deep-seated feeling in your gut. And Adair and I were actually talking about what's happened to the video. I can't see. Ladies, let me know if you can actually see us, because all of a sudden my screen's gone blank, but the camera's actually still on. So if someone can comment and tell us that you can still see us, that'd be fabulous. But in the meantime, Roz has said that she's heard that phrasing before herself about it being the devil's work.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Roz isn't Greek, so it's obviously something that's not just the ethnics.
I think.
Now, and so Roz has also said that what other people think about you is none of your business. I was told that many times as I grew into myself. That's so true.
Saying. Absolutely. And at some point you've actually got to live it as opposed to just hearing it. You know, like you can hear it, go, yeah. But then at some point it's like, no, I'm ready to actually live that, not care about what other people think.
Yeah, and it's so true. What other people think of you makes absolutely no difference. You have no control over them, and when it comes to, there's that other expression about how, anybody can be offended. It doesn't make it offensive.
Yeah, I love that.
Anybody can be offended at anything. I could show you a red pen and you might hate red.
Yeah.
I mean, I love red, but So now Adair and I were also talking a little while ago about the difference also between instinct and intuition.
Right.
And so I think it's all the same sort of thing, learning how to speak to yourself and what's within and what's, learning to follow intuition is one thing that we're trying to,
And it's interesting because this is what I teach. It's like we live in a society that doesn't value feelings. But what people don't realize is feelings is the language of the soul. So if you're disconnected from your feelings, you're disconnected from your intuitive part of you. So, you're not going to get those messages. You're not going to be instinctual because you're actually disconnected. Mm-hmm. And with addicts, that's what's actually happened. As addicts, our emotions were suppressed and repressed because of what's happened. And so it's really hard to know what we need to do, when to do it, because we're so totally disconnected from our feelings. And that's the whole thing of going back to our feelings, working out what we're feeling, why are we feeling it, and then, listening to what comes through, because when we know what we feel, then we know what we need to do.
Yeah.
Because if we don't know what we feel, our feelings are our navigational system. It's like, imagine being on the ocean on a boat with no navigational system. You're screwed.
They can all see us. It's only us.
Oh, okay.
So that's cool. We're looking at a black screen. So hopefully we're both in frame still. Now, so we've got a few people on. I just want to acknowledge we've got Eliza online. Hi, Eliza.
Hi, Eliza.
Of course, Adair, the lovely Adair. And so she's confirming that we're still there, which is great. Hi, Tracy. How you going? Thanks for joining us. I'm looking forward to chatting with you next or on Monday. I'm positive. And we've got Sujata. Thank you for joining us, Sujata. And thank you, everyone, for confirming that you can see us. Roz is saying she may have been Greek in a past life. That's very possible, very possible. And yeah, so the one about being offended, I think there's big power in a lot of that stuff, because you don't have control over other people's feelings, responses, emotions, whatever. It's the stuff that you can only take control of for yourself. And Tracy's saying that makes so much sense about being disconnected.
Yeah, we don't realise how important that is.
Yeah, and it takes someone to tell you, someone who knows what they're talking about. And so with addiction, we were having a brief chat before we jumped on live. So it's often, addiction's not the cause, it's the symptom of something, some other underlying
Absolutely. So
issue.
Addiction is just the symptom of the problem. It's not actually the problem. And so people think, if you put down the drug or the drink or the,
whatever
the chocolate, whatever it is, they think, that the problem's done, it's dealt with. It's actually not. It's just the beginning. Because whatever your choice of drug is, that's been masking what's going on underneath. We're using that to medicate our true feelings, which we can't feel, we can't be with, because it's too painful. So, once we put down the choice of drug, then those feelings come up. And if you don't know how to process them, it's a hellhole, really.
Yeah.
So really, our addiction is our best friend until we're ready to work through what's caused it in the first place.
Yeah. So
So
we'll see. So if you got any questions or comments for Annie, let us know. Annie's here to answer your questions, and also comment soul below. I'll just scroll this across. Comment with the word soul below for your chance to win a 15-minute soul reading with Annie. Now, you don't have to be in Adelaide to receive the soul reading. Annie can do it via Skype. And so comment soul below, and the winner will be drawn live on Mytimetv at 3:00 on Sunday. Thank you. Lucky I told you. You got my back. So hi, Kathy. Thank you for joining us. So don't forget to to write soul. Hi, Alfredo. Thank you for joining us. Alfredo is a great follower of everything Adair does. So
awesome.
It's wonderful. So it's great to see you again. I haven't seen or spoken to you in a little while. And Tracy's saying our feelings are our navigation system. What have you got to say about that? I'm putting you on the spot.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like, imagine being on the ocean on a boat without a navigational system. We're lost. So we have feelings so we can work out what it is that we need, and when we know what we need, then we know what we have to do about it. If we don't know how we feel about something, we can't work out. And that's why a lot of people go, I don't know what to do. Well, of course you don't know what to do, because you're not connected to your feelings,
Yeah.
And what I'm loving is, like, we're coming into a time where that's becoming more socially acceptable. Whereas, back even just 10 years ago, it's like, it's a very head society that we've lived in, and if it doesn't make sense, and if it's not, whereas now it's like we're starting to open up, and we're realizing we do need to be just as much of feeling as we are thinking, because it makes us whole and complete. So I love that things are changing.
Absolutely. And I think you're right. More people are open to different things, whether it's, still sticking to your traditional means of help, whether it be counselling, psychology, whatever. But people, I'm finding now, more and more seeking out other modalities as well, which is why we're here today. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have met you.
No, exactly.
So Adair, I need to call this up because otherwise I can't see it. If we don't know what we feel, we don't know what to do. Our feelings are our navigational system. So that's a quote by the Annie D. Adair saying she loves this. It is something males are afflicted with more. Is it something that males are more afflicted with more than females? This follows on actually from our interview this morning with Luke.
That's a really good question. And that's what I mean about times are changing, and I love that. If you look around like 10, 15 years ago and beyond that, it was very much, you're not a man. If you cry or if you're emotional, you're not a man, and, toughen up and that kind of thing. Whereas that's actually changing, thank goodness, because now we're at a time where it's time for, men and women, becoming more whole. And, before we were like the emotional ones, you're too emotional. And then over here we've got the men going, not feeling anything, and it's
beating
like
their chest and acting like cavemen.
And it's interesting because we have a high rate of depression, especially for men, because they're not allowed to express their feelings. Well, they felt they couldn't because it wasn't manly. Whereas now, I'm so glad that this is changing, because depression is half the thing of depression is because they can't get in touch with their true feelings. So to start healing depression, and I know because I suffered with depression most of my life, I was diagnosed back 18 years ago before I went into my recovery. He diagnosed me with chronic depression. I'd have to be on antidepressants for the rest of my life, and that just shocked me. I took them for 3 weeks because I was in a really bad place, and then I just went, there's got to be another way to live, because it didn't work for me. So for some people it works. For myself, I just went numb. Mm-hmm. And back then I was interior designer, so I was creative, and I couldn't actually work because it just blocked all that creative process.
Yeah, and it numbs all emotion.
It does. And I actually felt worse. Being numb was worse than having the high and the low.
This is so interesting. We were talking about this exactly this morning. Dare and I interviewed Luke McLean, who is raising awareness through his battle with addiction. He's overcome himself. Raising awareness for mental illness, mental health, and money for Beyond Blue. And this is exactly the thing that we were talking about this morning. So hearing it come from you, so this is a woman's perspective as well. You're still saying the same story. The message doesn't change.
Isn't it funny? This was not where we were planning on talking.
No, it's not.
But that's where it
goes. That's where it goes.
That's what I love about it.
Now, Charlene's here. Thanks for joining us, darling.
Hey, gorgeous.
And more loves from Adair. Now, so remember, comment with the word soul for your chance to win a 15-minute session with the amazing Annie. Charlene Lynch, we love you, Annie. We love you too, Charlene, but yes, we do love you, Annie.
Oh, and I love you too.
So if you have any questions for Annie, comment below. So 3 o'clock Australian Central Standard Time for drawing the winner. Make sure you tune back in here. And Adair saying hi to Alfredo. I'm just making sure I don't miss anyone in case there are any questions up here.
I'm glad you can see it because I can't see anything.
That's why I'm reading out. I saw you. Adair takes her glasses off so she can see. But
okay. No, I can't see anything. So I'm just smiling at.
And here we go. Where are we? So yes. Numbness is the death of creativity. That makes absolute sense, Linda. Yes. So masking all of that. So it's about getting in touch with your soul, listening to yourself, which I guess is all about that. If you've disconnected, then you can't really listen to what you're trying to tell yourself at all.
Yeah, and the thing is, right, it's hard. If there has been emotional pain from the past, the last thing you want to do is feel. Yeah, and that's why we do disconnect, we don't do anything for no reason. So that's why, the healing journey has been for me. I needed to get in touch with that stuff and I needed to heal it. And it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. And the thing is, if we're willing to do the work, the rewards are so great. I mean, I never thought today I would be doing what I was doing. If, somebody told me 18 years ago that I would be doing this, I would just go, are you serious? I mean, even before my counselling, like I was doing interior design, I thought, I'll never be doing anything else.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, so...
Adair's saying, oh, my God, I have to yell that because it's in capitals.
Okay.
I did exactly the same thing, took antidepressants for 3 weeks and had episodes and decided the cure was worse than the disease, ended working through it without drugs.
Wow.
And that's quite powerful. Not everybody can. Not everybody knows how.
Exactly.
And they do work for some people. I guess it just depends on your underlying issue and whatever. But mental health, raising awareness, absolutely, Alfredo. It is something that needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
So what's the connection between, okay, now we're getting back on track. So I'm just asking, what is the connection between soul voice and physical voice?
What do you mean by physical voice?
So the words we speak.
Okay.
So what comes out of our mouth?
So soul voice is that deep feeling. You know when you have a gut feeling about something, but what ends up happening is because it's so subtle, and if the best way I can say is like, imagine someone's trying to call you, but the music's blaring, so you can't hear it. Whereas when we go quiet and we go internally, then we can hear that voice. So it's and usually what happens is it's the voice is on the peripheral. So if you think about something, you'll get a gut feeling about something. You go, oh no, that's just too simplistic, or no, that won't work. And so the logical, critical mind just shuts it down. But if you can just sit with it a bit longer and just listen, eventually it'll keep coming through, and then eventually you'll go, okay, I'm going to do this. And unfortunately, most of us, we're not taught to trust ourselves. We're taught to trust everybody but ourselves. You know, we go to the doctors, and no disrespect to doctors, but we go to the doctors and we wait and we sit there, and it's like we're being told what to do. Yes, listen to the doctors, but then also listen to your own body. Go inside. And I think the biggest problem with all this is we live such a busy life that we're so externally focused that we forget to slow down, go quiet. And even if it's just 5 minutes a day, trust me, that can make a difference. Ultimately, like I do 15 minutes a day, I will sit in absolute silence and I will just ask the questions and we'll just wait, and I get my answers. Everything I've done, even with my business, it's like I hear all these other things, people saying, do this, do that, you know, this will succeed, that. And in the end, I just get overwhelmed because it's just too much information. So I hear it all, and then I go off, I sit down, close my eyes and go, what's the right thing for me? And it doesn't mean you're going to get the answer straight away, by the way, but you will get it as long as you set the intention that you want it. And it might come in that moment, it might come half an hour later, it might come the next day, or it can, as long as you're open for it, it will come. You know, there's a saying, God's delays are not God's denials. In other words, just because you don't get it when you want it, if you hang out for it, it will come, but it comes in divine timing, not your timing. And that's a hard thing to learn.
Yes, patience really is a virtue, isn't
and
it?
I'm the most impatient person on the planet. And I've had to learn the hard way. But like I said, if you're willing to do it and persevere with it, the rewards are great.
Now, Annie would like to, so Tracy, good point. Is that the same as meditating? So where you were talking about sitting back for 5 minutes, 15 minutes and just...
Yeah, it is meditating on the surface if you look at it, but it's not your traditional meditating. It's a bit hard to explain. With my workshop, the soul connection, I teach how to do that, because meditating is basically where it's sort of working with the chakras up, you know, connecting to spirit, whereas the way I do it is we're meditating, but we're bringing our consciousness and awareness down because our feelings live in our stomach, in our gut. And so we need to go down into that. And I do it in a way that helps you connect to that part of you. So then slowly, and there's all these little things that I teach you. And, you know, let's be honest, it's not going to happen in one day. It's stuff that you do regularly, and you make that commitment to yourself that you're going to do them regularly. And before you know it, you feel the difference. Things start changing. Coincidences start happening. You know, synchronicity starts happening. I mean,
yeah.
Like you girls, you know, you and Adele, I mean, this is all synchronicity. It doesn't happen on its own.
And things happen, they fall into your lap and it just feels right. And it's, you know, like what you said before, if you thought, you know, 18 years ago, this is what you'd be doing today, you would have laughed at yourself. But then when it happens, it just feels right. And it's almost like it's just falling into your lap, and you just know you're on the right path and doing the right thing. So Dare said you'll get it when you're ready for it. And that's absolutely right. We just need to be patient, and perfect divine timing. Now, if one person online now, if you would like to jump on for about 5 minutes soul reading online, then you can see how it works. If you have a question, just to see how it all works, and then you'll know what you're in for when you, for the lucky winner who gets the 15-minute
So this is going to be interesting. I've never done it this way because I can't see you, but
I'm hoping you'll be able to see the person when we'll give it a go. We're hoping, because we're looking at a black screen right now. But what I can do is bring it up on my phone, turn the volume down. There'll be a 15-second delay, but we'll work with what we've got. So Linda's saying there's so many different ways to meditate. It really depends on your intent. Theonie and Adelaide, poetry in motion. Oh my God, is it what? So Eliza's saying going within and connecting with yourself, slow down, deep breath and feet connected with your heart. Do what makes you feel good and happy and not what others want you to do. Absolutely right.
That's a great...
Now, Charlene has said so she wants to jump on for the 5-minute reading right now. Adair, can you please send Charlene the guest link to jump on? And if you haven't used Live before, Charlene, if you're on your computer, you have to be using Chrome, but if you're on the phone, it's a free download of the app and it won't take very long. We'll wait for you to jump on. So Adair's about to send you the link. Thank you for playing, gorgeous. And
by the way, thank you for coming to my Soul Speaks event yesterday. Mwah. Loved it. Loved having you there. Loved having your energy there.
I've heard amazing things about you. So I spoke to Paula Darch briefly before I came here. And she was in a position where she couldn't come to your event at first, but then a client cancelled and she wasn't disappointed because it meant she could be there. It was meant to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was meant to happen the way it happened. She was meant to be there. And
it's great having her there. Having all the girls from Weber there. Thank you so much for your support, and I loved having you there.
So Sujata saying, what do I need to know for my career now? Sujata, comment Soul if you haven't already, and then you will be in the draw to win a 15-minute session with Annie. If you're not in Adelaide, I don't think you are, but I could be wrong. If you're not in Adelaide, it doesn't matter because you can do it via Skype. So location is
on the
not...
phone, Skype, whatever you...
So location is not a barrier. And so Adair's going to send the guest link. I'm guessing Charlene's on her way in. So Charlene's saying the teacher appears when the student is ready. That's absolutely right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Pick me. We chose you. So while we're waiting, Tracy's saying Soul Speak was amazeballs. Oh, and Charlene's excited that she's won. So Soul Speak was amazing. I guess with Charlene coming on now, she knows what to expect, which is good. So that shows the rest of you that it's not something to be afraid of. It's something to embrace. So Sujata is in Adelaide. Excellent. So comment Soul for your chance to win a 15-minute session with Annie. And if you don't win the 15-minute session, remember you can still get in contact with her via her page. We'll send you those details and you can get in touch with her that way and organise your own session or attend a workshop, whatever it is that's for you. I've heard nothing but amazing things. So I'm looking forward to it either being a day I'm not at the normal JOB or an evening and I'm there.
Well, my next one is in the evening in July. So because I had that feedback, a lot of people saying they'd love to come. Unfortunately, they're working, so they couldn't do it. So
you can't keep everybody happy, can you?
No, but
well, not all of the time.
Yeah, but I'd like to each month I'll do a day one and a night one.
So Charlene's here. Charlene, are you ready for me to bring you on? Because I don't usually warn her there. I just bring her in and she's doing whatever she's doing at the time. Okay, so I'm just bringing Charlene Lynch. Yeah, you'll be able to hear her. I just need to. Okay, so you're on the show, Charlene. You may speak.
Hello, amazing humans. How are you? Hello, can you hear me?
Charlene.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Why can't we hear Charlene? Just let me try and you stay where you are. I'm going to see what I can do here. The joys of technology. I love it. So I'm looking at a black screen to my right and Charlene to my left with a gorgeous smiling face, but she's mute at the moment.
I can hear you.
I'm going to unplug this and see if it makes a difference.
Okay. I can hear you.
Oh,
great.
It's because of the microphone. That's okay. Can you still hear us now?
Yes, you sound like angels.
Oh, because I've unplugged the microphone we had plugged in. That made the difference. So, I've got mine here. Annie made mine. You jealous? Now, I'm going to pop out of the frame and just let the two, I think I'm popping out of the frame because I can't see, it's black. But I'll let the two of you go and I'll just keep track of the comments and things. So I will get this off the screen so that you can concentrate without that scrolling across. And I'll leave the two of you to it.
Okay, gorgeous.
Hello, beautiful. How are you?
Really good. Thank you for yesterday.
No, thank you for yesterday. You were amazing. I haven't stopped singing your praises since then.
Oh, thank you. You made me cry now. So, talk to me. What would you like to know?
Well, I just wanted to first of all say thank you for the feedback that you gave me yesterday when I asked the specific question about, you know, what of the 5 things do I need to move forward with and what do I need to let go? And you said definitely move forward with the public speaking. I got an email. I won a gig in Sydney paying like $1,000 for speaking for 90 minutes. And that was directly after your presentation.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the speed to manifestation was ours.
Yeah, and it's not going to take long. And I actually do want to talk to you more about it, but I'll talk to you offline about it. But just for where we are right now, I think I even said this to you yesterday. And by the way, when I actually do a soul reading, once I'm out of that space, I don't remember anything I've said. So sometimes I need you to remind me, because when I'm channeling, I'm in a completely different headspace. But now that you mention it, I do remember. I feel, like I said to you, in 6 months' time, your life's going to go in a completely different direction, and it's all to do with the public speaking.
Excellent. That's exciting.
Yeah, right now, the other things you're doing is just building the foundation, but that is going to take off so much. Like what I saw for you, I'm in awe of it. Like you don't even realize how far it's going to go.
Wow, that's exciting.
And I just see your soul's just opening up and flowering. It's like this is what you were born to do.
Thank you.
And you know that. I mean, you feel that deep in your heart. It's just a matter of, as I said yesterday, we are born knowing who we are. And the first, 3 to 5 years, we're the most connected to our soul than we ever are. But then as, we get a bit older, because at age 7, we talked about this yesterday, age 7, logic and reason kick in. So it starts to shut down. But from a small child, we're born, we know why we're here, but we forget. And we're meant to forget until the time comes that we're now ready. We have to go through those experiences to gain the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding, and then our time comes, because we all have our time. It's just a matter of divine timing, not necessarily our timing, which is ego. The ego wants it now. It's instant gratification, But if we're willing, and this is where trust and letting go and surrendering, because what's for you won't go by you, but we're so quick to, but I want it now, and that's when we fight and we push and we want it to happen. If it's not happening, it's not meant to happen, but it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. And that's what's happening for you. You've done so much and now you're ready. And the next 6 months, it's like each thing's going to build one on top of the other. And I'm excited where you're going.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes. Don't forget us, by the way.
Is there anything? Was there anything that you feel that I need to know, aside from the fact that it is going to happen and it will happen in divine time? Is there anything else that you feel that I need to know moving forward?
There's going to be a little bit of a hiccup with someone that may not like the direction you're going in, but you've just got to stay true to yourself, because this is your, this is your pathway, and this is what you're meant to do. But that's okay, What I love about you is you're really strong personality. You know what you want and you'll go for it. And, but in saying that, you are a sensitive soul as well. You do care about how your behaviours affect other people. But for this, it's like for the first time, it is about you, but it's got to be about you now. You know, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, completely. Completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm moving the camera around. I'm on the phone. I'm trying to make sure that you're in there. So sorry if that's annoying everybody. I totally see what you're saying. I mean, not psychically, I don't see what you're saying, but I've seen you at Speakers Tribe with the public I've seen you speak publicly. I have been at your workshops and seen you do it publicly as well, though, and I totally see that that's the direction you're meant to take. It's just you look so natural up there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's funny. I came last week, I think it was, and I've never been before. And the only reason I came because you were there, because you made that. So, and I'm not saying this to make you feel. I am being really honest.
Thank you.
Have it's your soul's purpose.
It's my mission to give people a space to say what they need to say to get their business up and running and to make a difference, because everybody has a story to tell.
Absolutely.
And it's beautiful. That's how we learn, through other people's stories. Our messages are delivered via someone else's voice.
Is there anything else you want to?
No, you're just amazing.
Oh.
But Adair said, now I'm the same. Adair said that's why she went as well. Now Adair's talking about Speakers Tribe.
Yep.
She said she went because of you as well, Charlene. And that was actually why I went the month before. It's because, well, it's the same as anything. You make a connection and you build a relationship with the person, then you go, which is why we always talk about it's friendship first, business comes later.
Absolutely.
And the business will follow you and want to be part of what you're doing.
Well, that's why
I'm an Annie fan.
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't be here otherwise, would we?
Exactly. No.
Well, thank you. It's been an absolute love fest. Thank you, girls. And Annie, I'm looking forward to catching up and seeing you in person for our soul reading, which is coming up soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, I'll just. So now I can see here, but there's a 15-second delay on the phone, so I'll be able to see if we're both on screen in a minute. You might have my ear or something.
That's fine.
It's a beautiful ear.
Oh.
Yeah. I just want to say a big thank you. Now, I know how anxious you were feeling about the live video. It didn't show. For those of you who don't know, here we go. Now I've got to work out which way this goes. That way, I think. Annie, this is the first time Annie's done a live video on Facebook. Annie has shared video on Facebook before. However, she always pre-records and then uploads the version she's happy with. We haven't given her the opportunity to do that today. And how do you feel?
I'm glad I've done it.
You're no longer a virgin.
No, I'm not a virgin anymore. No, thank you. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. You and Adair, honestly, I just love you girls so much. You give all of us women so many opportunities. And, absolutely. I'm a hug slut. I'm okay with that. I love hugs.
Now, apologies for those of you who can't. I'm not sure if I'm in the frame properly. I think I am. We just don't want to be seeing ears and things. So thank you for joining us. We have gone over time. It was absolutely worth it. That's all. I don't care. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And remember, comment soul below to receive a link. So let us know that, you're interested and you do want a 15-minute soul reading with Annie. There'll be one lucky winner drawn at 3:00 on Sunday, live on this same page. And so comment soul below for your chance to win. Even if you're not catching this show live and you're watching the replay, you are still eligible to play. So type in soul and 3:00 Sunday, we will draw the winner. And that's, so that's this Sunday, 3:00. That's only 3 days away. So we've got plenty of time. If you're not watching live, if you are catching the replay, you're still eligible for the draw. So type in soul. And then also connect with Annie's page, which is Annie D, the Soul Consultant. And so connect with Annie's page and you'll see all the wonderful things that she's doing there. If you find out about her workshops, send her a message through there to connect and find out how Annie can help you.
Thank you.
Thank
I look
you.
forward to whoever wins the reading.
Good luck, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
So it's not finished yet.